Hello and good morning, and welcome to today's message. Oh, we got jumper off the rip, the moon, intuition. That is our spirituality coming through big time on the first card. Then we got the Page of Wands in reverse, Queen of Swords in reverse. I like that Queen of Swords in reverse. That means we're letting go of some shit there, guys. Oh wow, Eight of Swords in the upright. My goodness, is there another one there? I thought I saw one. I guess not. Okay, let's get our final card, and then I'll talk through this. I guess the energy is on fire today. Just cards jumping everywhere. Let's see. Can I get one more card for today's message, please? Thank you. Nine of Swords in the reverse. Wow, lots of swords energy today. So we've got a lot of thinking. Swords represent our intellect or our thoughts. It's air energy. It could be indicative of overthinking or thinking too much or laying burdens down, but it's all in our thoughts, right? There's no action necessarily in the Swords energy. The action comes with the Wands energy, which we have in the reverse today. So let's start at the beginning. Okay, so we've got the moon, and the moon is our higher self. It's our things that are not seen, that we can only feel, and things that Spirit is maybe trying to tell us, but because they're not human and they're not speaking English, we can't always hear and see them in the traditional human way. So we have to sense them, and we have to be aware of them and pay attention to those sensations that we get when you get that tingly feeling, or when you get a sudden hot flash maybe, and you're not in menopause like me, or maybe the room suddenly gets cold. If you think about movies like The Sixth Sense or Ghost, and some of the sensations that those channelers had, like the little boy, the room would get cold when the bad spirits came around, or I'm saying bad spirits, but really it's not bad. They're just not healed, right? They just hadn't crossed over. They hadn't been able to find peace in the afterlife, and that was what the coldness represented in that movie. So when you get those sensations, that is literally spirit, ancestors, guides, ascended masters, loved ones that have crossed over, that are trying to get your attention for some reason. And so this card is telling me that we are starting to be aware of that and pay attention to that. So that's good. I like that. Whenever we can start to translate the energy and figure out what things mean, at least for me anyway, I don't know, when I can put a meaning to things, and when things can make sense, when A plus B equals C, that's when I kind of feel not fulfilled, but satisfied, right? Otherwise, when you have that question in your mind, you just keep going over and over and over again, which is all the Swords energy, right? We just keep trying to figure it out, trying to figure it out, trying to figure it out. Once we figure it out, we can move on. And there's things in our lives that we'll just never figure out, right? Things we're not meant to figure out. There's pieces of the puzzle that are going to be put in place, and we don't necessarily know what that picture looks like yet. We haven't stepped back from the puzzle to see the big picture. And God knows that big picture, and he's guiding us all the time. And we just have to know and trust and have faith that whatever's happening is always, always, always in our highest good. So our next card out is the Page of Wands in reverse. And that's more like a struggle, right? Or a childlike immaturity, struggling with the situation, struggling maybe with the knowledge of what all this is, right? Maybe you're getting these messages and you're like, I don't know what this means. Please, someone tell me what this means. So we get these feelings, sensations, messages or whatnot, and we don't always know what they mean. But when we have that blind faith in God, and we just, are obedient servants of the Lord, we can trust that his hand is guiding us, and that everything is happening for a reason. We may not always see the reason right away, and it might not always be our lesson that we're going through. Maybe he is using us as an instrument for other people's lessons. Maybe we were the chosen one to deliver a message, or to deliver I'm trying to think of the word, I don't want to say teach somebody a lesson, because that sounds awful, right? But it's something like that. Like, you're just the messenger of the lesson. There you go. That's what I was trying to say. And it's not always for us to understand, right? It's just not. It's never, we're never going to have all the knowledge of what we're here to do. We're never going to know exactly how things line up or whatnot until we're looking back on it, right? That's why they say hindsight is 20/20. So yeah, so that's where we're at. So we've got, these messages coming in from the other side. We're not really sure. We're a little insecure about how to discern what those mean. And then from there, we've got the Queen of Swords in reverse. And the Queen of Swords is in reverse. She's kind of cold. She's got no compassion. She's rigid. She's maybe a little dishonest. But she's definitely using nothing but logic here, right? Which is literally the complete opposite of the first card. So with the Page of Wands in the middle and the confusion being in the middle of those two things, I can see where you would be overthinking potentially the messages that you're getting. You're maybe trying to put too much effort into trying to figure it out logically, when you can just go back, close your eyes, meditate, and the answers will come. You'll feel them, right? You won't always have words to put to them, but you'll have a good sense of what's good and what's bad, what's right, what's wrong. I used to tell my kids growing up all the time to trust that gut instinct, that feeling in the bottom of their stomach when they were going to do something wrong or something bad was going to happen or whatever. And I told them from a very young age to trust that, and that was God literally telling them what to do. You have a devil on one shoulder, an angel on the other, and all those little stories that we heard as children. And I think as children, when you're taught to trust yourself like that, and you're taught to really look for and pay attention to those subtle feelings that we get from the other side, that's how we practice it, and that's how we are able to develop those gifts as children. A lot of children were forced to hide their gifts because they were weird, or it wasn't anything anybody could understand, or their parents may have just been fearful for them and taught them to suppress those gifts. But a select few were actually nurtured along the way. So at any rate, I don't know what made me go off on that tangent, but as we all know, everything for a reason. So then we move on to the Eight of Swords in the upright. So the Eight of Swords is kind of like the mini devil card. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know what that means. So she's overthinking. She's got all her boundaries up, maybe too many boundaries. She's got a blindfold on, and I don't see the knots in these ropes. So she could get out of this at any time. So this is literally self-imposed restrictions. She's restricting herself from the outside world. She's isolating. She is just, trying to get back to center, I think, which is good. And then as the final outcome of our daily spread today, we've got the Nine of Swords in reverse. So Nine of Swords, that isolation ends, right? Literally, Eight of Swords, Nine of Swords, one to the next. And this being in the reverse is literally how the isolation ends. Have faith. Don't be so defensive, right? Because I think we got this card yesterday. And the Nine of Swords is that defensive energy. It is the nightmares. It's the anxiety. And this is telling me that we're letting go of all that, right? So we're not as anxious anymore. We're not trying to overthink ourselves to death. So that's good. We've got 3 in the reverse today, which means we're still keeping our energy kind of closed in. We're still kind of lost in our head a little bit. And we're struggling with the creation of what's happening. And the moon card at the beginning, that's where we need to be, right? Let's just get back to center. Let's get back to feeling what we feel and knowing what we know, and not having to have a logical answer for everything. And then things are going to play out. We're not always going to know what they mean or where they're going, but we'll know someday, right? We just maybe don't know right now. So let me get some advice for the spread today for those of us that resonate with it. Spirit, please give me some advice on what we can do to help our situations or improve it, or what we can do that is in our highest good. And they say, the more you praise and celebrate your life, the more there is in life to celebrate. Oprah Winfrey said that, which is literally as above, so below. What you think, you manifest. Thoughts become things. I don't know if any of you subscribe to the messages from the universe, but I've been subscribing to them for about 10 years now. They're amazing. You get a little message every morning about, a message, literally a message from the universe. Kind of like these daily messages, but in your email. Mike Dooley's a great guy that him and his brother Andy have a couple channels on YouTube, and they do a lot with the spiritual community. They're great people. And I just noticed that I have a card in this deck that maybe doesn't belong here. But again, we all know nothing is a coincidence, right? So she will not worry. She will be just fine. She will brave this new season one day at a time. And I love that, right? Because we're going through some big changes, and we're not really sure. Maybe we're going through changes in our jobs, in our relationships, in our spirituality, but there's a lot of new things happening, and we're not really sure what they all mean. And I think what God's trying to tell us here is see the joy, see the positive, and focus on that, and know that you have everything you need to get through this and to prosper in this. And she will brave this new season one day at a time. Stay in the present moment. Don't look back. Don't look in the rearview mirror. Look forward. Look ahead. Manifest what you want. Create your reality. Make it everything you want it to be. Find your joy and bring joy to others. And that's all we can really hope to do in this world, is bring a little bit of joy and peace to ourselves and others. So with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this message, and I will see you tomorrow.